Okay, England have beaten Wales in the Six Nations at Twickenham. This is a revenge for last year in Cardiff, where England were poor. It's finished 33 points to 30, and England actually almost threw the game away with their ill discipline in the second half. And actually, in the first half, they were lucky with the amount of penalties they were racking up in a very short period of time, not to actually get a yellow card, considering they had a team warning in both halves. The Watson try, that's a quick start. They started on the front foot. It's a quick start. It's what England needed, I think. And it's good to see Anthony Watson back playing for England. He has had a lot of injuries throughout his career. It's nice to have him back. And he has got very, very quick feet. And he's exceptionally powerful for not the biggest winger in the modern game. He's exceptionally powerful. And he scores a very, very good try. But then England give away a silly penalty down the other end where they've actually successfully defended 5 minutes of Welsh pressure. George North knocks the ball on in the act of trying to score. And Owen Farrell is Owen Farrell. And he's a bit of a tool. And that's me being polite, because I'm trying to keep swearing off the channel these days for monetization purposes. But I don't understand how he's captain. You've got to lead by example, and he gave away at least 3 penalties in the first half. And this is England's problem. Their penalty count's too high in victory or defeat. And they nearly threw this game away because of stupid penalties when they've been warned. And Halfpenny slots the penalty because Dan Biggar's carrying a knee injury. Farrell responds with a penalty 15 minutes. Then Halfpenny responds with another penalty on 21 minutes. And then we have the Daly try. And again, wide channels, the Welsh defence very narrow. George North is not a very good defender. One-on-one sometimes. He's come in too narrow. It's created a natural overlap, and Daly scores the try. If George North stays a bit further out wider, he can man up one-on-one man up. And I think England have noticed that with Wales' defence. They're defending very narrow this year. New coach, new defensive system. And Wales haven't quite adapted to that. They've lost 3 games in a row now. And it's a very good try. It's very well taken. Scores in the corner. Farrell converts. Farrell then converts a penalty. And at this point, it's 20 points to 6. Just get through the half-time, nothing silly. And they get a scrum. And what you would think, they get the scrum, kick it out. They decide to start trying to go for yet another try, and it backfires because they're caught pinged holding on, and Dan Biggar steps up to slot the penalty on 40 minutes. So it allowed Wales a gateway back into the game. And so at half-time, it's 20 points to 9. And it's what happened straight after halftime with the Tipuric try, which involves back rowers and outside backs with some great handling skills from a poor kickoff. And this is something that this game had throughout from both sides, was some pretty aimless kicking at times. And this is the first time a team has actually taken advantage of that. I'm surprised Wales in the first half did not have a single line break. England had 3 and scored 2 tries. Wales, this is their first line break. It takes 40 minutes. It actually takes 40 minutes and 21 seconds for Tipuric to score his first 2 tries. And it's a very well taken try. It's a very, very well worked try. Some great handling skills. And at this point, you're thinking England have imploded, like they did in Cardiff last year. Farrell steadies the ship with a penalty. Then George Ford slots a penalty. And then Tuolangi's try. He was very good in defence today and attack. And it's a great try. Again, Wales' defence is getting very narrow, and all these tries came in wide channels. This is not coming up the middle, powering it through the forwards, although there was a lot of forward momentum with the forward pack to cause the basis for this try and build the platform for it. But outside backs have scored all of England's tries today. And the Welsh defensive line, for some reason, they're defending far too narrow and too close together, so it creates a natural overlap, or it creates mismatches in defence. And it's been exploited for all 3 tries. Tuolangi's try and Farrell's conversion, that's the end of England's scoring. That's their 33 points. They are on top at this point. They could run riot. Wales, with that Tipperick's try, had a chance to run riot with England, and England responded very, very well. And this is where England's discipline leaves them yet again, and it leads to Genji's yellow card for coming out the side at a ruck after the team had a team warning for the second time in the match. Within 2 minutes, Tuolangi's off for a red card for a shoulder charge, and I do believe that should have been a penalty try. Even though, Slade has started to tackle George North, if Tuolangi doesn't shoulder charge him, George North could regain his feet, because it's not it's not the worst tackle in the world by Slade, but he hasn't brought George North fully to ground. If Tuolangi, doesn't shoulder charge George North, there's a possibility he could have broken that tackle and gone over. And for me, that's a penalty try, just a red card. At which point England are now, holding on. You got Dan Biggar's try because they've got 15 against 13. Uh, you know, and that's after 3 or 4 minutes of successive scrums and lineouts and successive pressure and penalty advantages. And then the Tipuric gets his second try because Wales, if they had been quick enough with getting Biggar's conversion over, they could have actually overturned that 10-point deficit rather than just getting the 7 points. But Tipuric gets 2 tries. Long gone are the days where he just comes off the bench for the last 40 or 50 minutes. He's now an 80-minute player. Wales showed some character in the second half, getting 3 tries. But England allowed them to get 3 tries with shocking discipline. The penalty count goes through the roof, and even in victory, England almost threw it away. And I question some of the replacements that England have on the bench and Owen Farrell's leadership, because you look at the amount of penalties given against England players. In the first half, I think 3 out of the 4 or 5 penalties England had were against Owen Farrell for a variety of high tackle, not rolling away, offside. If he is your captain should set an example. Players will follow it. And the penalty count for England, yes, their line speed was great, and Wales couldn't work it out for the first 40 minutes, and for large periods of the second half, couldn't work it out. But the discipline by England has let them down and nearly cost them the game. Wales, on the other hand, weren't good enough in possession in the first half. They were very one-dimensional, no line breaks, relying on England's little discipline to get points. They weren't creative enough. Apart from that George North knock-on, Wales didn't really threaten the England try line in the first half. The second half's a different story. They obviously had a talking to by Wayne Pivac. Bit of a dressing down, I think, by Wayne Pivac. But yet again, Wales are chasing a game, and there's only so long you can do that. They did it a lot under the Gatland era very successfully. Under Wayne Pivac, when they go behind, they stay behind. We've seen this now in every game they've lost. They've been chasing the game and have never got in front. And you can't keep doing that. They've lost 3 in a row. England win the Triple Crown, but their discipline has to massively improve. This has been a criticism I've had of this team under a variety of coaches since 2003. England's discipline and penalty count has been shocking for 17, 18 years now. And it's in games harming them. And they could have thrown this game away. It was a really entertaining game. But I think the kicking game of both sides was poor today. There was a lot of aimless kicking, which didn't add to the spectacle of what was a really enthralling game as a game to watch. But England have got to sort that penalty count out. Tuilagi, that's a straight red. He's going to be suspended for the next game whenever they play against Italy, because obviously that game is postponed due to the coronavirus. Wales, they've got to get out on the front foot in games. They cannot chase games. They're because the 3 games they've lost, they've been chasing from basically the first point scored until the 80th minute. They've been behind, and they cannot seem to do it this time round. When they were winning games last year in the build-up to the World Cup, and they had that long undefeated streak, yes, they could go behind, but they didn't seem to affect them. But in this 2020, they go behind and they're chasing games and they're not coming out victorious. They're leaving it too late to start scoring tries and applying pressure, and you can only do that for so long. And I think it's starting to catch up with them, this chase mentality. It's not working. They need to start on the front foot, not the back foot. But there we go. Really interesting game. Wales losing 3 games in a row for the first time in God knows how long. England, they survive a scare in the second half, but their discipline's got to be better. But the tries that were scored were really exciting. Outside backs scoring tries, which is great. But they've got to work on their tactical kicking, and they've got to work on their discipline. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below. I think the Tuilagi red card should have also been a possibly penalty try, because it's within that try zone. Other people will disagree. That's fair enough. I'm open to that criticism, and I look forward to the France Scotland game tomorrow. That looks like it could be a really tasty encounter, and a lot of these Scottish players do play in France. That could be really interesting to see how they pick up some more confidence after that Italy win the other week, and can the French carry on with their hopes of a Grand Slam. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.